It's time to get excited for another edition of the Coaches Corner, where we pick the brains of coaches and athletes to help us get connected with MSU Denver sports. We're right here from the Tivoli Tap House, as we are every Monday, 5:30. So come on down, hang out, chat with the coaches, our fabulous student athletes, right here every Monday, 5:30 from the Tivoli Tap House. Today on the show, we're going to have Coach Ben Portie, his women's golf team, coming off RMAC championships. We'll also have Janis Christopher, the head coach for the outdoor track and field team. Their season's rolling. We're going to get her thoughts on her team, and then we're also going to have Sabrina Naccarato, or we do right now. She's going to help you co-host this first segment with her coach. How are you doing?
I'm doing well. How are you?
Doing excellent. Excited to get underway. But before we bring up Coach Ben Portie, let's get you caught up on the weekend that was MSU Denver sports. We'll lead things off with some baseball, and Coach Jared Otis, his squad, swept Colorado Christian at home. The team finished the sweep on Sunday as 3 Roadrunners blasted home runs. The offense piled up 17 runs on Cougar pitching. And speaking of pitching, senior Derek Stimson went 7 strong innings, giving up just 1 earned run while striking out 6. The baseball team has clinched a spot in the RMAC tournament and are currently ranked 2nd in the conference standings.
Tough weekend for the softball team. Snow prevented Coach Annie Van Wetzinger's squad to play a 4-game series and only got 2 games in, with the RMAC tournament looming. The Grizzlies took both games, including the 13-8 finale. The Roadrunners jumped out to a 4-0 and 7-3 leads, but the Adams State offenses came to play at home in Alamosa.
Our golf team just finished up their season competing in the RMAC championships. Head coach Ben Portie and his squad finished in 6th place, while Meg McMullen and Kendra Meeker finishing in a tie for 18th place overall on the individual side. Regis University won the tournament, ending the Roadrunners' bid for a 3rd straight championship. Now we welcome in head coach Ben Portie to the show. Coach, thanks for joining us on the show tonight.
Absolutely, glad to be here.
Yeah, absolutely. So we mentioned that you didn't get the 3-peat, but you know, it's hard to win that 1 championship, even harder to win 2, and much harder to win 3 in any sport. Would you agree?
Yes, you know, looking back, it was great to win those conference championships those last couple years. The cards have to fall your way, and a lot of different things that you do through the year. Staying healthy, having the girls play good at the right time, kind of peaking at that right time. So it just wasn't in the cards this year, but most of the girls, except for Sabrina, will be back next year. So we have, you know, what we still call a young squad, because a lot of them will be back, and looking forward to starting a new streak.
All right, so let's talk about the RMAC championship, even though I was already there. So from your perspective, in Chandler, Arizona, how were the conditions? And this was the first time that we all played at Ocotillo. So what did you think about the course and our first time being out there?
Sure. So Chandler, Arizona is about 30 minutes away from where we played our conference tournament the previous few years. We were on the other side of Phoenix, but really a great spot to be. This time of year, it's pretty hot. When we were playing our practice round, it probably reached 100 degrees, and a couple of our girls are from Washington and don't quite like the heat as much as some do. They would rather have that overcast, cloudy, even some rain. So it takes some getting used to. A lot of the other girls are kind of used to the dry heat and like it. Ocotillo is a great golf course, beautiful place, a better venue than we've played in the past in our conference championship. Tough golf course though, a lot of bunkers, a lot of water for desert. But really a great test, and I hope we get to stay there, because even though we didn't play our best, I want to go back, and I think we'll do great next year.
All right, so that first day, your team finished with a 333 score, which was good for 6th place after the first day. Just talk about the first day, the first round, and what did you see from your team?
So the first day, you know, we didn't get off to the greatest start. They pair us how we are seeded, so we got to. You know, we were seeded number 2 going into the conference championship from all the conference teams, from the 12 teams. We just didn't perform. We didn't. You know, we had a good game plan. We always talk about our game plan kind of through practice rounds and even leading up to it, how each player's kind of hitting it and playing. I think You know, I think a lot of it is my fault, though. I think we maybe put a little too much pressure on ourselves. And anytime we have, you know, we're defending conference champions, I think these girls probably felt a little pressure themselves. And we all want to win. We want to go out and make it a three-peat. But I think we felt a little bit of pressure that first day and got off to a rough start, and it didn't quite go the way we wanted.
All right, so after day 2, we played a little bit better. 4 of the girls put up better scores. And do you think we all felt a little bit more comfortable out there, shook off the nerves? Why do you think our scores went down the second day?
You know, typically anytime it's a new golf course for us, I think the more we play the golf course, the better our scores are going to be anyway. And even looking at the other team's scores, you know, most every team's scores kind of went down just the more you get more comfortable with the golf course. But we're in 6th place. There's probably a little pressure off at that point too, and that probably had something to do with it. So we got to learn from this and learn how to handle the pressure a little bit better, because there's always going to be pressure. Whether we mention it or don't mention it or like to think there is or not, we have to just be able to handle our nerves a little bit better and get in that situation more. And that is something that we didn't do as much this year. In the spring, we weren't in that situation as much. So I knew this going into this tournament might be a little bit different, a little bit tougher. But I'm proud of the girls the way they ended the year. It was our last tournament, unfortunately, of the year. But we were able to play a little bit better and kind of go off on a little bit of a higher note than the first day.
All right, so as a head coach, during that championship tournament, are you doing a little bit of scoreboard watching, just seeing where other teams are at, other individuals are at, or are you just more focused on your team and your players and just getting them in the right mindset to succeed?
Yeah, good question. We, you know, we have live scoring out there. It's easily accessible with our phone, and I'm only one coach that can't be in 5 different places with the 5 girls. So sometimes I do, typically maybe towards the end of our round, but I didn't turn the phone on actually until probably about the 11th or 12th hole that first day. So as a coach, you kind of know where you stand. You can gauge the girls coming through, and you know how they're playing based on their attitudes and how they're walking and moving. But so I knew kind of where we stood. By the 2/3 of the way through, I turned it on, and I could tell we were losing ground pretty fast. But really, at that point, there's nothing. There's you know, you just try and stay in the moment and help them out at that point to try and kind of finish off their rounds the best they can. But you can't really look at the past at that point and see, you know, no bad shots at that point are going to change what happens in the future. So you just try and keep doing what you're doing. You know, try and make a few simple adjustments through the round, but you can't make major adjustments. So that's kind of what I do when I'm out there.
All right, so like you previously said, that you are the only person out there and you have to keep track of all 5 of us. So how do you manage your time? And you know, you're really relying on us to tell you our shots and how things went. So how do you manage it?
Yeah, good question. Sometimes it's just where you can be on the golf course at certain times. Sometimes you might see a girl struggling a little bit and stay with them a hole or a hole and a half, but there's really not. I try and bounce around as much as I can. I would love to be in all 5 places all the time. So I find spots on the golf course where at least I might be able to get to a tee shot and a putting green at the same time. Some of the best places us coaches can be are on the par 3s, because I can at least help you with club selection. I know what other girls hit coming through. But when we're stacked up 1 through 5, sometimes it's harder for me to get to the 1 and the 5 because they're on both ends of it, and I probably see the 2, 3, 4 players a little bit more. But I'm just trying to be in as many places as I can at once during that 5-hour span and try and help out as much as I can.
All right, so your team finished 6th overall. Can you tell us what you said to those girls after the championship? I mean, end of the season. Looks like you're only going to be losing Sabrina. So what did you tell those girls? Is it a good learning experience for them? And if you could put it briefly, I know it might be hard, but what has Sabrina meant to you in this program.
Sure. So Sabrina, I'll start there because it kind of, it was nice to have Sabrina down there. She has been, my only girl that I've had in this 4-year span of starting the program. She was the only freshman coming in. So to have Sabrina here all 4 years has been great for me, great for the team. There's so many little things that Sabrina does that has been great. So after the round, I wanted to relay that to her, even though it's a tough time. I mean, we all wanted to play our best. But I gave the girls a hug, and you just try and move on. Golf's a game where you're not going to play great every single time. It's too hard a game. You can't keep it all the time. But I'm lucky to have the girls that I have. I love our team. They'll all be back except for Sabrina, which I've told Sabrina she does all those things that you're going to miss. I don't have to worry about her academically. She shows up for workouts every morning. Every little thing I ask her to do, she does it. So really great to have Sabrina around. But looking forward to next year and the talent that's coming back.
Yeah, Coach. Well, as always, it's a pleasure to have you on the show, and congrats for completing yet another season here at MSU Denver.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
All right. We'll have Janis Christopher on the show, her outdoor track and field team, coming down the home stretch of their year. We'll touch base with her and get her thoughts on where her team is at.
Brought to you by your #1 volume Nissan dealer, Tynan's Nissan. Come in today and choose from nearly 1,200 new Nissans. Get 0% for 72 months with no payments for 90 days. During the Bottom Line event, lease the new Altima for only $149 per month. Gives you both efficiency and performance. Looking for an SUV? Then choose the all-wheel drive Rogue at just $159 per month. Also available with optional third-row seats. Bottom Line savings at Tynan's Nissan in Aurora and Fort Collins.
I'm Raquel Torres, senior guard for the women's basketball team.
Winners, and there's Torres, three-point shot up and
oh, there it goes.
Raquel Torres, the trifecta.
And you're watching the Coach's Corner. Get rowdy.
I'm Andre Harris, senior center for the Roadrunners men's basketball team.
And here's Andre Harris with the jam, bobbing and weaving through traffic.
And you're watching the Coach's Corner. Get rowdy.
Welcome back to the Coach's Corner, and we want to tell you about some exciting happenings here at MSU Denver and the Tivoli Tap House. So we want to encourage you to join the MSU Denver Mug Club featured by Tivoli Tap House. It's a great way to raise some money for student scholarships and to the Alumni Association as well. As a member, you'll receive a nice mug with a Tivoli logo and an MSU Denver logo on it as well. You'll get $1 off any Tivoli Brewery Company beer, $2 off during a event that is sponsored by MSU Denver, as well as happy hour. So a fantastic event, and you can sign up for the awesome club at TivoliBrewingCO.com. So let's chat with track and field coach Janis Christopher. Coach, thanks for being on the show, as always.
Thank you so much.
All right, so your meet this past weekend unfortunately got canceled due to some wacky snow, so which means your athletes couldn't compete. So how tough is that, knowing that you don't get to face off? I mean, I know practice probably only goes so far, right?
Right. We would have liked one more opportunity to compete. We can try and do a time trial or something to get that same stimulus, but really there's nothing that compares to getting out on the track and racing other people, besides just your teammates that you see every day. So, yeah, it does make it a little bit tough, but we're going to just do the best we can and move forward and roll right into conference coming up.
So snow, obviously a factor. So the meet was canceled. So you're telling me that these athletes couldn't run in the snow? I mean, I know your squad was all prepped, ready to roll for it, but, what happened to the other schools?
I actually spoke with the coaches from the School of Mines, and they went out there and tried to shovel the snow off of the track, and it pretty much just filled back up as fast as they were shoveling it. And so they kind of gave up and called it, and they said Mother Nature just wins this round. There is a safety concern with not so much with the running, but the field events. Jumping on a wet runway and pole vaulting. With the wet pole and the wet pole box. So safety concerns as much as anything else. But really, you just have to be able to see the lines on the track, and if you can't see those, then you can't run.
Yeah, then it's game. So it just wasn't meant to be, I guess.
It was not meant to be.
All right, so the RMAC Championships taking place this weekend in Gunnison. Looks like the weather should be a bit nicer this weekend, hopefully, fingers crossed. But give us your preview on who your top competitors are and just what you want to see as you take on the conference best.
So right now, I've got a couple of guys that I'm throwing a lot at. Julian Delaney is going to compete in the 100, the 200, the 4x100, and the 4x400, and I really do expect that he will score points in every one of those events. And then right behind him, I have Robert Carlson, who is our jumper, but he's gonna, he ran 1-200 this year. He's ranked in the top 12 with that 1-200. He'd never run one before, so we're going to let him run the 200, see if he can score some points. He'll do the 4x1, the 4x4, long jump, and triple jump, and really does stand to also score some points in all of those events. A lot of our distance runners, we're going to triple them, which means that they're going to, or at least double them. So they'll go in and run the 1500 the first day. Some of them are going to run the steeplechase the day after that, and then the third day they'll come back and run the 5K. So it's a lot of running, but all of them are really excited to see what they can do.
Yeah, hopefully they do well. So at the end of May, the NCAA Championships, for those out there in the audience who aren't familiar with how you make it to that meet, that will take place in Bradenton, Florida. Can you tell us about how that process works?
So there's a couple different ways. There's really a list of times that you hit and distances that you're supposed to, reach for. There's a provisional mark, which means that you get your name on a list, basically, of the top people that hit this mark. So that makes you eligible to go if, at the end of the season, your mark is in the top 20. The other way, there is an automatic mark that if you run or jump far enough or throw far enough and you hit that automatic mark, you automatically go. You're automatically one of those 20. So a lot of the time, though, it is trying to hit that time and trying to hit that mark and just crossing your fingers and hoping that when it all falls out, you're one of the top 20 to go to the meet.
So do you have any athletes that have hit that automatic mark or are close to qualifying for that NCAA tournament?
No automatics. Julian Delaney has run a provisional mark in the 200 meters. Robert Carlson has a legitimate chance to long jump far enough to go to the championships. I've seen him jump. He just hasn't got his foot on the board the right way so that they can actually count the mark. Yeah. So he's jumped far enough, he just hasn't marked it. And then, of course, Sarah Hughes and her triple jump, I think that she still has that opportunity to possibly get a top 20 jump in the next week at conference. Or we've got a couple opportunities. They're called last chance meets, and they really are like your last chance to qualify. So we're going to run and jump on Friday. Not this Friday, then the following Friday after conference, and then we'll also do it again on Sunday following our conference meet.
All right, Coach. Well, as always, thank you so much for being with us here on the show.
You're welcome.
And best of luck this weekend in Gunnison.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. So we are going to bring back Sabrina. This time she'll be on the other side of the coin, though. We'll be interviewing her. We'll get her thoughts on her MSU Denver career right here on the Coach's Corner.
Are you a college student that needs a place to live? Are you still living with your parents and want your own space? The Regency Student Housing is perfect for you. The community offers many amenities such as a fitness center, 2 basketball courts, big screen amphitheater, all-you-can-eat dining hall, bowling alley, arcade, free parking, and a shuttle to and from the Auraria campus. For more information, please call 303-477-1950 or visit our website at regencystudenthousing.com.
I'm Lexi Marr, senior defender for the Roadrunners women's soccer team.
These teams looking for offense, and there's Marr, the all-conference defender.
And you're watching the Coach's Corner. Get rowdy.
I'm Anthony Grant, Director of Athletics at MSU Denver.
It's because of your generosity and support that our athletic programs have been able to achieve sustained success and continue to be one of the top athletic departments in the nation.
And you're watching the Coach's Corner. Get rowdy.
Welcome back out on the Coach's Corner. We welcome Sabrina back in. How do you think you did on the other side?
I think you did pretty good. Gave him a run for his money with those questions, so yeah.
All right, so we'll see how she does as the interviewee this time. But before we get to that, we want to encourage you to follow us on Twitter at MetroSTSports. We tweet out game recaps, highlights, player profiles, you name it. If you want MSU Denver sports, follow us on Twitter at MetroSTSports. On Twitter, hit that follow tab. So Sabrina, you pretty active on social media out there?
Oh yeah, I would have to be. I'm a millennial.
A millennial. Okay, so as we mentioned, you're a senior. Does that mean that you're graduating in May, right?
Yes, in less than 2 weeks, I will be graduating. It's crazy.
All right, me too, and I know I'm frightened, but how scary is it for you?
It honestly didn't sink in really until today when I picked up my cap and gown. So other than today, I've been okay, but I'm a little freaked out now.
All right, so we'll talk about you and your plans for after college and stuff, but first let's get to those RMAC championships from last week. It took place in Chandler, Arizona, as we mentioned before. How did the course feel itself? And I believe it was the first time you guys played on that course, yeah?
It was. It was actually a little bit different than the courses that we're used to. One of the big things was there was so much water, and that's so weird for a course being in Arizona, but there was so much water, and it was so... It's hard to get like your mind around like, okay, don't go in the water, don't go in the water. And then when you have that in your head, you're like, okay, well, I might just go chunk it in the water right now. But that was a little bit harder. Other than that, the greens were rolling great, and it was a really, really nice course. It's probably one of the nicest courses that we've played on in my 4 years. Yeah, the game's really mental. So that first day, you shot a 98, but then on day 2, you brought that down 10 strokes. So what was different from you? Were you just more comfortable with the course? I think I just played smarter. The first day I had 4 balls going in the water, and if anybody knows golf, like that's a stroke in, a stroke out, and then you're going to be hitting again. So it's a lot of strokes went into the water for me on the first day, but the second day, honestly, in my mindset, I was like, this is the last collegiate tournament that you're going to play in. So just have fun, and that's what I did. The girls I played with, the girl from Mesa I played with before, she's a great girl, and like even just like talking calmed me down, and I just played my game, and I didn't worry about it. And like Coach said earlier, we were in 6th, a lot of the pressure kind of went away, so we are just like, let's just go out there and have fun, and just shoot well. And even though an 88 is pretty good for me, it's still not great, but dropping 10 strokes in a day is huge.
All right, so you mentioned you guys finished 6th. Not a terrible showing, not the three-peat I think you guys were looking for, but what did Coach just say to you after this tournament was over, the team and maybe individually as well?
I guess one thing that I remember after the first day is like we knew that we were kind of out of contention, but he said, I'm not mad at you guys, and that was one thing that like really stuck with us. Like he couldn't be mad of how we performed. It was just a tough day from like Jen for the number 1, me at the number 5, like all the way through. It was tough, and he just said like he wasn't mad at us, and just next day just go out and play, and that's what we did. And then after, like he came up to me and was like, good job, way to finish. It was a good way to finish.
All right, so you're a senior here. We'll stick with Coach Ben Portie. You've kind of seen him come in and kind of raise this program up to the point where you guys won back-to-back conference championships. What have you seen from him that's really turned this program around? What kind of mindset does he bring in?
When it comes to Coach Portie, he is very honest, and I think that honesty really helps with all of us, and his ability to help at practice when something's going wrong, we'll go up to him and just be like, okay, what is it? He knows right away. And it's just like his ability to just be open and willing to help us and willing to get us better. And that just, he was like that my freshman year, but just that has grown so much. And the girls that he's brought in have helped a lot too. And like, he's a smart coach. And when it comes to actual golf coaching decisions, he's very, very good at that. And it helps us, all of us, like throughout the entire year.
All right, so let's talk about you for a little bit. You're from Pueblo. So what was it about MSU Denver that made you want to come to the Mile High City to play golf here?
I got recruited, that's why. Yeah. I actually committed to ASU in Arizona, so I was already there. My parents sent the first check, and then I played my senior state championship in high school, and then Coach Portie was following me around, and I was like, hey, is that a parent? My dad's like, no, that's a coach, and he's like, he's going to talk to you after the second day, and I was like, okay. So he's like, hey, I'm Coach Portie. We're gonna have a golf team at Metro, and I was like, Metro has a golf team, and he's like, no, not yet. So then after that, he was like, all right, come take a visit. Like, I know you've already committed, but come take a visit. So I came here, fell in love with it. You know, the campus is, I have driven past this place probably 1,000 times growing up and no idea it was here, but I just fell in love with it, and the journalism department was great, and I was like, all right, let's change our plans. So that's how I ended up here.
So you mentioned the journalism department. That's your major.
Yep.
I think you did so well in the first segment. Maybe you should have been interviewing me this entire time. So talk about what I guess your dream job is once you leave this institution in a couple weeks.
Honestly, I want to stay in college athletics.
Yeah.
The past 4 years have just done amazing. Like, I don't know, it's just transformed me, and my appreciation for the NCAA, for even D2 sports, it's crazy how just big and important they are, and I've seen that with my growth through the past couple of years being involved in SAC and helping out on different subcommittees within the athletic department. I was like, I like these people, this is where I want to be. So I guess dream job would be eventually like a sports information director within an athletic department, but that's a lot of work. That'll take a couple of years.
Absolutely. So, Sabrina, it was great having you on the show as a co-host and as an interviewee, and best of luck in a couple of weeks. I know that I'm scared as well, so we'll see you at graduation.
All right, thank you.
Yep. All right, so before we say goodbye, let's get you caught up on what's on the docket this weekend for MSU Denver sports. The softball team will head to Grand Junction for the RMAC tournament this weekend, hosted by Colorado Mesa. We are still waiting on the bracket to come out, so find out what times and who their opponents will be at roadrunnersathletics.com. The baseball team will finish out their regular season at home this weekend. They'll welcome in the top team in the RMAC in Colorado Mesa, and it will kick off Friday at 6 p.m., so come on out and support head coach Jared Otis and his squad as they look to take down one of the best teams in the nation. But if you can't be there, you can watch all the action on Stretch Internet at roadrunnersathletics.com. And finally, as we mentioned with Coach Christopher, the outdoor track and field team will be in Gunnison for the RMAC championships. So we wish them the best as they take on the RMAC's best as they look to lock down some qualifying times for that NCAA championship. So that's going to do it here on the Coach's Corner. Make sure you guys stay tuned for the replay, and make sure you go check out roadrunnersathletics.com to get caught up on Roadrunner Sports, get that bracket from the softball tournament as well, and make sure you guys come out to some games. A big thanks to Coach Portie, Coach Christopher, as well as Sabrina here, helping us out, lifting up a little bit. So I'm Sean Tafoya, and we will see you next time, same place, next time.
Hi, I'm Tyrone Braxton. I won 2 Super Bowl rings and was an all-pro safety, but I wanted to do more with my life. I knew I wanted to help people, and MSU Denver helped me figure out my next steps. As a case manager at the Mental Health Center Denver, I'm helping people re-enter society. And this is so much better than those 2 Super Bowl rings. I reinvented myself.